What is up, guys? Hey, I just want to finish with some last thoughts on my journey of overcoming my porn addiction and finding a place of freedom such that I haven't turned back in 8.5 years. And I think I've really hit on a lot of the big testimonies, a lot of the big revelations and breakthroughs that happened along the way. Of course, there are just so many smaller ones, or like so many like examples that are specific stories that fall into the categories and descriptions that I've presented in the last dozen videos or whatever it's been. But I'm not going to go into every single one of those unless I do later on this year. We still got some time in this YouTube video challenge, which has decreased a little bit in intensity, but is still active in some way. But what I want to close with, and then I'll probably share a recap video that just highlights kind of all the points that I made in one video. It's just the comprehensive nature of following Jesus. And what I mean by that is, you know, in my journey of trying to get free from my addiction to pornography, like that wasn't the only thing I was doing. That wasn't my singular focus. And more importantly, like I was still living a consistent Christian lifestyle, and I don't think that I would be free now if it weren't for that. So ultimately, something I made clear at the beginning is, on one hand, you gotta want this thing really bad. If you want to be free, it's gonna take effort, time, pain. On the other hand, nothing you can do can guarantee your success. Humans have the ability to trade addictions, you know, so you could get free in a sense, but it wouldn't be true freedom, because you would end up in this endless game of whack-a-mole where something else pops up that wasn't an issue before, but now all of a sudden it is. And humans, we're addicted to that sense of progress. Oh, look, I overcame in this area, made progress in this area. Oh, cool, now I'm going to do it in this area. Oh, now I'm going to go over here and work on this area. But you're not actually necessarily net developing that much. You're just trading, you know? And it can become a full circle flywheel where you end up back at the same area that you thought you had gotten breakthrough in at a previous time in your life. But that's a rabbit trail that I'm not really intending to go on. I'm just explaining how this other hand, you need God. Like, He's the one that has the ability not only to set you free, but also to teach you how to walk that out. And so if you need God for your breakthrough, then it's pretty important that God's on your team, right? Or let me put it like this. It's pretty important that you're on God's team. Like, it's His approval, His favor, His kindness, His redemption, His purposes in you, for you, through you, that will cause breakthrough, that will incline His ear to your plea, that will move His heart to respond, that will hasten the day of your breakthrough. So it's this humble submission to God and this fear of God. But I don't mean that in a moment sense. I mean that more in a lifestyle sense. You know, John 14 and 15 are some powerful chapters in the Bible, and in it, Jesus multiple times says this, or some variation of it, which is, if you love me, you will obey my commands. My friends are the ones who do what I obey. And 1 John has a very similar theme. What I'm getting at is our our love for the Lord, our genuine, pure love for the Lord, is something He takes delight in. And it leads to our obedience. It's not, hey, obey better so that you can prove that you love me. If you have an obedience problem, really you have a love problem. Because if you loved the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, you would obey what He commands. And so it's cultivating love for God in your heart, and that's easier said than done, of course. But it's so important, right? And it's aligning your beliefs with His as well. You know, like we become what we believe in so many ways. And so the art of adopting a belief cerebrally and then digesting it into a true heart belief, but then further acting upon it, you know, not just having it in your heart, but living a lifestyle according to it. But then even further is this level of belief that's inseparable with who you are. Like there is no existence of you without this piece of you. And it doesn't all have to be so so crazy. Like an example I like to give is like believing that the sky is blue. Like that is a part of your worldview. It's a part of of life as you've constructed it in your mind, in your being. And importantly, you don't think about it every day. Like you do not. And if that one's harder for you because of, you know, scientific properties of light, then how about this one? I am 5'5". I'm 5 feet tall and 5 inches. Like that is a belief, right? And you're like, no, that's not a belief, that's a reality. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. When your belief in things that you can't see, when your belief in things that Jesus says are just as real, if not more real, than your reality. And you'll know if you believe something that strongly because you will not try to believe it. It will just be matter-of-factly true. It will just be reality, right? If you're giving effort towards wanting to believe something, that's admirable, of course. And it is also a sign that there is deeper belief for you to attain. But if something is so core of a belief that it shapes the way you perceive things, it's no longer questioned. It's no longer, fueled. Like it's there's no fire, there's no zeal, there's no passion, there's no quest. It just is. And it started in a mental agreement. It got into a heart desire. It flushed itself out into your actions. And then at some point it became inseparable with your worldview, with reality, with who you are and what life is. As you do that, you're you're gonna see a lot of good things, okay? So this is kind of tangential, but it's actually super significant, and maybe the Lord just reminded me of this last revelation that I haven't really shared yet, which is that belief process, not settling for these lesser levels of belief. But hey, if you believe something mentally, which that's kind of what the level I've been talking at in these videos, you know, like my discussion about the sin nature. Okay, maybe you disagree with me, and it's like, great, it's going to be tough, right? But if you can do the work to get to this point where mentally you're like, you know, I think that is right, I think that's true. Okay, great. There's still going to be a gap of time between that mental alignment and you feeling like it's true. You know, like it kind of simmering into your heart, and what if I really believed it? What if I really like it moved me, it inspired me. And what I'm talking about as far as obedience, living the Christian lifestyle, is kind of this next level of belief of, hey, don't just get inspired, don't just feel it, don't just have passion and desire, don't just agree, don't just think something's right or wrong, but let these things flush themselves out. Let them look like something. Let them manifest in your behaviors. And so for me, that's, it looks like a lot of different things in a lot of different seasons, but you'll need to decide, and hopefully you let the Old and New Testament inspire those decisions of what are the bedrock behaviors, what are the base level Christian obediences. And I would say being a part of a local church is huge. Spending time with the Lord, talking to Him, praying, worshiping, reading the Bible on a consistent basis and for more than just 2 minutes. Like a real relationship, right? Those are some. Fasting, huge, right? Discipleship, the Great Commission, having a missional element to your life, not just trying to climb the mountain of spiritual maturity in isolation, but looking to invest anything and everything God gives you or develops in you to pour those things out into other people, other environments, other workplaces, and I could keep going, but those are some big ones that if there's no personal devotion, if there's no community, commitment, identity, belonging with a group of believers that has a clear leadership or clear form to it, some type of structure, doesn't have to be super structured, but they're moms and dads and kids, like siblings can't give birth to siblings, right? There's some structure in relationship, in family. So it's this personal devotion, it's this community, and it's this missional element, whether it's evangelizing cold turkey on a street corner or going on mission trips or serving, volunteering, expressing your thoughts even on social media or something, like investing in specific people, getting on the phone and calling someone you love and asking how they're doing, or getting lunch with someone who maybe you're a little bit further headed in life, or maybe you're not, but you're just asking those questions about how's your life, where are you from, what's your family like, what are you after these days. Just a little bit deeper level than social hour and like, let me really care about this person. And then when they say something that's hard, instead of being like, okay, so anyways, changing the subject, like love that place, care for that person. And so my commitment to the Christian lifestyle was significant, I believe, in having God's favor in the way that He set me free. Ultimately, it's His testimony, it's something He did, not something I earned. But I feel like as we demonstrate to God a commitment to obey, as that it moves His heart and it increases in some ways the capacity that you have to carry responsibility in the kingdom of God, to be exalted. Those who are trusted with little will be trusted with much. Or sorry, those who are faithful with little will be faithful with much. And so, will you be faithful in your behaviors, in your obediences, your actions? And if so, that will mean more than just, I want to get out of pornography addiction, but it's on my own terms, and I live my own life, and I'm doing my own thing, and I have an idea of God, but it's my own thoughts and my own opinions that ultimately decide what God is like. It's going to be tough, I think, to get free, because God's the one that needs to set you free, and God is a being. He's not subordinate to your opinions of Him, right? Like, if there is a God, it makes no sense to try to define yourself what He's like, right? Can you imagine that? That's so shocking, really. Like, his opinions of himself are so much more consequential to his reality than our opinions of him, right? Anyways, so commitment to the Christian lifestyle, and what I was getting at a second ago is that even that is just the next step of cultivating belief, where, okay, it's in your head, it's in your heart, now it's in your actions, and hey, now how do we get it in the core of your being, where it is inseparable with reality? And some of it happens as you do this flywheel, head, heart, actions, over time. Some of it happens through some of the things I've already talked about, the just direct revelation from the Lord, of community, rubbing shoulders with other people. I have a Google Doc. If you want to email me, I can send it to you, about how to cultivate belief. But this is huge, huge, huge. Jesus, after he multiplied the fish and the bread for 5,000 people, or 5,000 men, I think. Anyways, so even more thousands of total people were there. Some people came up to him and they're like, Jesus, how do we do the things that we're supposed to do? The way they say it is, what must we do to do the works that God requires? This is such a great question. Because if you're like me, and you've ever had any point in your life where you've had spiritual ambition and a desire to live with obedience to the Christian commands, then you've realized that you fall short. I mean, that's part of what this pornography addiction was for me, you know? Although it was not the only area that I was falling short in. So if it's not an effort problem, then it's come to Jesus and say, Jesus, what must I do in order to do the works of God? Like, I'm trying to live in purity. I'm trying to go to church. I'm trying to read my Bible. I'm trying to get free from this addiction. But I can't. What do I have to do so that I can do what I know I'm supposed to do? And guys, here's the thing. Jesus answers the question. He says, the work of God is this, to believe in the one who he has sent. Ooh, I love this. I love this. The work of God is to believe. What is Jesus saying? Is he saying, hey, don't do any of those other works. All that matters is that you believe. No, that's not what he's saying. And I know that's not what he's saying, because then he goes into John 14 and 15 and even the rest of that chapter. I think that's in John 6, what I referenced. Like, the ministry of his life is not throw away good behaviors, just believe. What he's saying is, this is the hard part. This is the work, the laborious aspect of following me, is believing in me. And he goes on the rest of this chapter, and you'll see this discussion move from a mental agreement to a heart issue, to a lifestyle obedience, to a unity of being. And if you don't see it, then give me a call. We'll talk about it. But he's saying, if you can do that, if you can get to the point where you are one with me, which is literally what Jesus prays that we would be, one with him, in as much as Jesus is one with the Father, that we would be one with one another and with him. Crazy, right? If you can do that, pornography is not going to be a problem. Like, if you can do that, you can multiply as much bread as you want to. Like, the hard thing is the transformation of being, of reality, of worldview, to be able to see things that are unseen and cling to them with even more conviction and clarity and true reality, not just a blind, hopey type of faith. Hopey. You like that adjective? But a very real foundation that is firm, that you build on, stand on, walk on, stomp on. Like, this is, you know? but you can't touch it. If you can do that, trust me, the works that God requires to do are not going to be a problem. And so these kind of two coinciding points that I want to kind of leave you with is be faithful to the Christian lifestyle, but also don't stop there. Really cultivate belief in Jesus, and not just that he exists, or not just that he's the Son of God, but anything that he says, anything that belief in him implies. Like, if you believe that he is who he says he is, then everything he did and said was divinely authoritative for your life, you know? And so there's so many areas of belief that you can cultivate in terms of coming into alignment with the way Jesus sees things, with his reality, because that's the reality that we're trying to live from, seated in heavenly places, right? Citizens in heaven. Like, we're strangers on the earth. So earth should be strange. Heaven should be home, right? So you see this belief, this reality, this worldview shaping transformation. Hopefully you see it. If you don't, that's all right. But those are some thoughts I wanted to leave you with. Hope you're doing well today, guys. I'll talk to y'all soon. Life is worship. God is love.